Today we're looking at practice test 3, the third passage, one of the science passages. It's adapted from Thor Hansen, Feathers, copyright 2011 by Thor Hansen. Scientists have long debated how the ancestors of birds evolved the ability to fly. The ground-up theory assumes they were fleet-footed ground dwellers that captured prey by leaping and flapping their upper limbs. The tree-down theory assumes they were tree climbers that leapt and glided among branches. 21. Which choice best reflects the overall sequence of events in the passage? The correct answer was D. An unexpected finding arises during the early phase of a study. The study is modified in response to this finding, and the results are interpreted and evaluated. The author explains that Ken Dial created an experiment to study the evolution of flight by observing how baby chukars learn to fly. During the experiment, Dial noticed the unusual way chukars use their wings and legs cooperatively to scale hay bales, and he created a series of ingenious experiments to study this observation. After his additional experiments, Dial determined that these baby birds angle their wings differently from birds in flight. 22. As used in line 7, challenged most nearly means, the correct answer is dared. In lines 6 through 9, the author explains that Dial was challenged or dared by graduate students to develop new data on a long-standing scientific debate, the ground-up tree-down theory. 23 and 24 were paired questions. Which statement best captures Ken Dial's central assumption in setting up his research? The correct answer is A. The acquisition of flight in young birds sheds light on the acquisition of flight in their evolutionary ancestors. The author explains that Dial created his initial experiment to try and create new data on the age-old ground-up tree-down debate, and that he looked for clues in how baby game birds learn to fly. The note at the beginning of the passage explains the age-old ground-up tree-down debate and offers two different theories on how birds evolved to fly. Finally, the last paragraph of the passage discusses where, W-A-I-R, in an evolutionary context. We found those answers in lines 6 through 11, B. 25. In the second paragraph, the incident involving the local rancher mainly serves to C. Show how an unanticipated piece of information influenced Ken Dial's research. When a rancher observed Dial's laboratory setup, he was incredulous that the chukars were living on the ground, and he advised Dial to give the birds something to climb on. This key piece of advice led Dial to add hay bales to his laboratory. Dial later noticed that the chukars were using their legs and wings to scale the hay bales, and this observation became the focal point of his research. 26. After Ken Dial had his aha moment, the correct answer is C. Observed how the birds dealt with gradually steeper inclines. The author explains that Dial's aha moment came when he determined the chukars used their legs and wings cooperatively to scale the hay bales. Dial then created additional experiments to study how the birds dealt with gradually steeper inclines. He filmed the birds as they raced up textured ramps tilted at increasing angles. 27. The passage identifies which of the following as a factor that facilitated the baby chukars' traction on steep ramps. B. The position of their flapping wings. Dial observed that as the chukars raced up steep ramps, they began to flap and aimed their flapping down and backward, using the force to keep their feet firmly pressed against the ramp. Dial determined that the position of their flapping wings facilitated the baby chukars' traction on the steep ramps. 28. As used in line 61, document most nearly means B. To record. In lines 61 through 63, the author explains that Dial named his scientific finding where for wing-assisted incline running, and went on to document it in a wide range of species. In this context, Dial documented or recorded the existence of where in numerous bird species. 29 and 30 are paired questions. Hopefully you started with these line numbers to find the answer to 29. What can reasonably be inferred about gliding animals from the passage? D. They do not use a flapping stroke to aid in climbing slopes. In lines 70 through 74, the author explains that gliding animals do not use a flapping flight stroke or where, wing-assisted incline running. Since chukars, a ground bird, use where to help scale steep inclines, it can be reasonably inferred that gliding animals do not use where to aid in climbing slopes. So we found that out in lines 70 through 74. That's why D was the best answer for 30.